The Mega Man Battle Network series is how I got into Mega Man. There were the games and the anime that also really helped with that because those two pieces of media were again how I got into the series. I admit I haven't kept up with the series throughout the years, mostly just because I've gotten lazy and I've mostly just played a bit of the games, but regardless, I still had fun. Even as a game series, I'd still say there's a lot of fun to be had. It brings a nice twist to the real time tactical RPG genre, and now I think it's a good time to actually get into the video because I just really want to talk about it because I think it's a really unique experience from a gameplay standpoint. And I feel if you like Mega Man, then you will probably like this one too. The only biggest thing that I actually really do like about it has to be the gameplay, of course. You can move on a 6-panel grid, and then there are other attacks that can affect different spaces. Like, for example, you can have a longsword which is attacks 2 spaces in front of you, and then you have flameborn that just shoots like about 3 spaces ahead of you and other stuff like that. Then there are support chips like allowing you to move more spaces because you steal the opponent's area, and again there are a bunch more like that. Then there are ranged attacks like the tank cannon, which is slow but can also hit the back row, and it's also really a strong attack. Then there's also the yo-yo chip, which actually lets you hit 3 spaces ahead, but say if it lands on an opponent, well, say if the opponent's in the front row and you hit the opponent on the front row and it stays there, then it'll just be a multi-hit attack, which I find pretty cool. Of course, you really have to deal with the timing in this case just because, it is basically everything in this game, just because if you miss then you waste an attack and then you have to deal with your like small blaster, which is annoying, but again that's why I really like this game, just because it's really intense. Then there are also the graphics, and frankly I think it captures the style of the show amazingly. The sprites are really detailed and I think a lot of the areas look really nice. Some standouts to me have to be the seaside area, the undernet, and just a few others. Then there's the story, which is pretty nice. You end up taking out the Cyber Beast depending on which version, because for some reason Capcom went the Pokemon route and released 2 different versions, but that's whatever, I don't know why other than money, but frankly still the story isn't groundbreaking, but I think for a Mega Man story it's still pretty alright. Another part that I think that I really loved in this game definitely had to be the cross system and the other navis that you get in the game. In these games there are 5 different ones, and again each version actually has a different set of navis, but again that's a different story. But frankly I feel like all of them have their own unique abilities that give you a slight advantage in battle no matter which one you pick. For example, you can use Electman that gives you a boost to electric moves, while also having a charge shot that shoots in a straight line, while someone like Charge Man actually gives you an extra trip every single turn. So frankly those ones can help you a little bit more, but of course it's really fun to experiment, and I just really think the cross system in this game just works really well. The game is also pretty challenging. A lot of the bosses like Circus Man, a lot of the cross navi bosses, and even the final boss can take you a while to win if you're not ready. A lot of them also do feel unique from each other, since again they are different navis with different powers, and that's what I really like. For example, Element Man can change up his properties. For example, one moment he's doing fire attacks and then the next moment he's doing ice attacks, and just he goes from like different element. That way you can just mix up his attacks, and that way you're not knowing what he's going to do next. And then something like Dive Man, where he hides under the water using constant missiles to distract you and make you have to move around the field a lot and then just try to mess you up. Again, none of these bosses are too difficult, but I still think they're really fun, and again do offer up a unique change of pacing considering that you do fight a lot of bosses in this game. I also do really like exploring the area, since a lot of them do look really nice and they are somewhat big for the Game Boy Advance. Something else I actually really like definitely have to be that a lot of these areas are connected to each other, so you can get to each area just by visiting a different part of the world. Either that, or on the home page, like when you log into your computer, you can actually have a teleport set up to each area, and frankly I find it really cool just because again this makes it really feel like the world's connected, at least on the internet, or their internet, because obviously in the real world you can just go to any place just by riding the bus, but at least with the internet, again their internet, it feels a lot more connected. But now we move on to some things I didn't like, and one of them has to be the biggest amount of backtracking I've seen in the game so far. Of course other games I've played have it, but this one I feel like has a huge amount of it and just pads out the story. There will be plenty of times where you just have to go back to older areas, whether on the net or the port site. This will happen quite a lot in the areas just because, you know, you will probably have to go talk to someone in a different city, or you have to go fight some viruses again in a different part of the town or on the internet, and I feel it just drags on the game a lot more. I feel like in the areas leading up to Sky area and beyond, I feel like it just happens a lot more there than in the older game, but I think again this does ruin the pacing of the story sometimes. Another thing I really didn't like is how sluggish you can feel in combat. Moving from tile to tile can be really fast, but it just doesn't feel right. I feel like every time you move to a tile, there's like a really small delay, and like it can ruin you up a bit. It has with me. Along with that, moving really fast for me often leads to like more accidents, just because I either get hit a lot more often or I miss a lot of my shots. And I feel like this is only a problem with, say, bosses that move pretty fast and I can't get a good shot, and then I end up missing a lot, and that kind of just sucks. Next point definitely has to deal with the balance in the wild encounters, because frankly, I feel a lot of them are just really stupid. One in the Undernet, Skynet, and ACDC towns I feel have it really worse. Of course they're beatable, but in comparison, it just feels like a massive step down in the opposite direction, just because I feel that like you can easily die if you just get caught off guard, and a lot of the enemies really abuse it sometimes, and they either do a lot of damage or just have a really long range, and I just find that really annoying to deal with. And frankly, even though that some of the balancing for some areas are just some of the worst spots for me, you can always just end up running away, just because again you can do that, and at least you don't have to fight them if you don't want to, and just hope that you can actually run away. And frankly, it has made me stop playing for that session just because of how stupid it is sometimes. But other than that, I still really do like these games, and I feel like they provide a unique experience that most games don't offer, especially in the gameplay part. But as always, let's go over the likes and dislikes before we end the video. Likes, gameplay, graphics, decent story, cross system, challenging bosses, and fun exploration and world to explore. Dislikes, a lot of backtracking, sluggish in combat, and bad balancing in wild encounters. Thank you all for watching, and see you guys later.